Godzilla x Kong Guardians of Equestria written by Fandom Place 1234, Chapter 22. The Xiliens plot. Tobias shoots down another guard as he and Sunset Shimmer guide the group with the help of Captain Xileno and her pirate crew. We're almost there, just hang tight. Sunset glanced over her shoulders to ensure everyone was still following them. Sunset, look out. She turns around as another guard turns the corner. You little dash. Tobias quickly shoots him down as they continue down the hall. They eventually reach a pair of sealed doors. Tobias quickly punches in a key code, gaining access. Alright everyone, hurry on in, he waves them in. The group rush into a large open space to find a massive warship docked. Whoa, said Rainbow. That's wicked, don't tell me we're riding that, said Spike. Excited? Sunset chuckles. Welcome aboard Battleship Katango. Oh hell yeah, Bernie said as he excitedly boards the warship. Now that's what I'm talking about. Capper chuckled as he followed after Bernie, with the others following shortly after, while Tobias and Sunset waved them on board. As Starlight, Tempest, Trixie, Skystar, Silverstream, and the main five boarded the warship with the members of the Monarch Task Force, Captain Xileno and her pirate crew started up the engines under Tobias's orders. Twilight? Sunset asked, looking over at her alicorn friend. Princesses, you're not coming with us? Twilight asked. I'm afraid not. The reconstruction of Equestria needs our full attention, Celestia sighed. We can't leave the Crystal Empire, added Cadance. I see, Twilight sighed with a look of disappointment. Fear not, Twilight Sparkle, this war is far from over, the enemy has yet to pay for their actions. When we've prepared we'll join you, said Luna. Okay, Twilight nodded. Twilight, she turned around as Sunburst called her over. Please look after Starlight for me. Twilight gave him a reassuring smile and nodded. We wish you best of luck, Twilight Sparkle. Starswirl and the Pillars said their goodbyes as Twilight and Sunset boarded the warship. The onlookers watched as Battleship Katango began its launch sequence. The thrusters activated as the warship unhooked itself from the docking bay. As it tilted upwards, the drill-like mechanism on the front began to spin and the back thrusters roared to life. The Katango lurched forward as it slowly began to drill its way through the ruined research facility that once housed Hyper Mechaghidorah until it erupted from the rubble of a ruined Canterlet. The ponies cheered and waved as they watched the Katango take towards the sky in hot pursuit of the now rogue Hyper Mechaghidorah. Takeoff sequence successful, Mullet announced. We need to track down Hyper Mechaghidorah, said Tobias. Boyle. Already on it, boss. Boyle answered as he tapped away at his console. Got it, seems that Rusty Bucket of Bolts is headed towards Hollow Shades. That's where the Hollow Earth access point is located, said Eileen. You heard the doc, set course for the Hollow Shades. We cannot risk Hyper Mechaghidorah to escape. Tobias ordered. Roger that. Xileno nodded. Engines at full power. Sunset announced. Tobias rose from his designated seat and waved towards Twilight and her friends. Come, Eileen, Bernie, Trapper, I want to join us too. Tobias turned towards the three. Where are we going? Asked Silverstream. It'll be a while before we reach the Hollow Shades. I've already taught Sunset and Xileno's crew how to pilot this thing, so we have nothing to worry about. More importantly, I did promise you all an explanation, said Tobias. I can trust y'all to handle things, yeah? Yes, boss. Sunset and Parrot Pirates answered in unison. Tobias smiled as he led the group out. He leads the group to what appears to be a briefing area of the ship. Go on, take a seat, said Tobias. As everyone gets settled and they turn to face him. Alright, so tell us, what was that all about back in the throne room? Asked Starlight. Yes, well, before that I guess I should start from the beginning, said Tobias. This was right about the time that Monarch let me go, because of your connection with Apex, right? Asked Trapper. Tobias nodded. Of course I was disheartened to hear when they told me that I was no longer needed. I really enjoyed working for Monarch, especially because I felt I was actually doing something right for once, but that's not the point. Even after I was let go I couldn't allow myself to move on without fixing the whole mess with Mechagodzilla, so I traveled to the ruined Apex facility in Hong Kong. I had hoped that if I couldn't do anything to help Monarch directly I could at least assist them by salvaging any remnants of Apex's technology and delivering it to them in hopes that they may use it to their advantage. Ironically enough, I got this idea after they took the remains of Mechagodzilla to craft Kong's Beast Glove. Eileen let out a small chuckle at his little jab. However, what I didn't realize was that I wasn't the only one interested in Apex's technology. That doesn't sound good, said Applejack. Indeed, when I had arrived, my initial goal was to collect whatever I could and leave, but my plan was thwarted when I was attacked, Tobias continued. The Xiliens, right? Asked Eileen. Tobias nodded. You called them aliens earlier if I remember correctly, said Twilight. That's right, the Xiliens are a race of extraterrestrial beings that had infiltrated Earth in hopes of getting their hands on Apex's technology, Tobias explained. They captured me, and when they found out I was an ex-employee of Apex, they ordered me to hand over the Mechagodzilla blueprints and everything else that Apex had designed, so that explains why we found the blueprints on their computer in the underground research facility, said Starlight. But why would these aliens need the blueprints of some giant robot? Asked Rainbow Dash. Based on what I heard from their communications with the Xilien commander, they plan to combine both their technology and Apex's technology to build a super-powered military weapon that they could use to conquer planets, Tobias answered. And I'm guessing that super-powered military weapon is, Spike trailed off. Hyper Mechagodzilla, Tobias confirmed. Sounds like the typical alien invasion horsecrap, sighed Applejack. It's no wonder that robot has so much advanced technology, it was built by aliens, said Skystar. Tobias lowered his head. Tobias, what's wrong? Asked Fluttershy. It's not the Xiliens that built Hyper Mechagodzilla, he said. Wait, what then? Who? Asked Rarity. He gave them all a knowing expression as a look of realization fell upon them. You built it, Rainbow exclaimed. But why? Asked Fluttershy. I had no choice, the Xiliens threatened to wipe out all of humanity should I refuse, Tobias explained. Normally I wouldn't be the type to bend towards such threats, but this is the Xiliens we're talking about. They're known for their ruthless tactics. I mean, we kinda got a first-hand experience when the one impersonating you tried to kill Twilight even after we gave up our magic, said Rarity. Knowing full well what they were capable of, I tried to reach out to all of the Monarch facilities for help, but as it turns out my message didn't reach them. I later found out it was because the Xiliens figured out what I was doing behind their back and intercepted the messages before they could even reach Monarch. In the end I was imprisoned and forced to build that robot against my own will. How terrible, said Fluttershy. While that robot was under construction, the Xiliens sent one of their own to the Hollow Earth access point that Dr. Andrews was stationed at and stole the Titan files under my name while posing as me, Tobias explained. So that wasn't you after all, sighed Eileen. I had a feeling that something was going on, but to think it was a Xilien who was responsible, I guess I owe you an apology. Don't worry about it, I'm not bothered in the slightest, Tobias chuckled. But wait, why would the Xiliens need the Titan files in the first place? Asked Tempest. It's all part of their plot. Sure, they'd be nearly unstoppable with Hyper Mechagodzilla, but they needed a surefire way for nobody to interfere, so they demanded that I add a function to the mecha that allowed them to create counterfeit monsters so they can create an army that they can control during their invasions, Tobias explained. Those dirty scum, Rainbow growled. Yeah, the biggest cheaters, added Pinky. Getting back on track, how did they find Equestria? Asked Starlight. It was around when I was close to completing the robot that the Xiliens started searching for an energy source that could power the mecha. Their original plan was to use the Hollow Earth energy that Apex had intended to use to power Mechagodzilla, but they changed plans after they realized that the same thing could happen to Hyper Mechagodzilla, he continued. During their search for another power source, they discovered the access point connecting Equestria to Hollow Earth. It was only after they discovered that magic could be used as a sustainable source of energy for the robot, they decided to finish the construction of the robot in Equestria. That way they'll automatically have access to magic. Thus they built that secret underground facility underneath Canterlot, and that's where I was held for the rest of my time imprisoned. To think that they've been under the capital the entire time, it's almost scary, said Twilight. After I completed the robot, the Xiliens went straight to work collecting magic, but realized that they didn't have any way to extract magic from the ponies. It wasn't until they got their hands on Grover's bell that they knew they had found their answer. All they needed at that point was to figure out how to use it, and that's when they turned to the statue of Equestria's most dangerous villains, Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Cozy Glow, Twilight hissed. But wait, it was only those three that was turned to stone, right? Asked Rainbow Dash. So how did Sombra get dragged into this? Who knows, they probably figured out a way to bring him back. They do have extremely advanced technology. I wouldn't doubt it if they used one of their gadgets to bring him back, said Twilight. They probably used the same technology to free Chrysalis, Cozy Glow, and Tyrek. Well, however, they did all that. It's obvious that those four were the first victims of the Xiliens' goal to sap Equestria and all of her creatures of their magic, said Starlight. Everything else is how you all experienced it, said Tobias. So this whole crisis, from the moment that the Mechagodzilla blueprints were stolen up until the point that the Xilien posing as Tobias sapped Equestria dry of her magic, was all orchestrated by a race of aliens? Asked Applejack. Exactly, said Tobias. Whoa, I get that much, but where does Sunset Shimmer and Sileno's crew come into play? Asked Rainbow Dash. I unfortunately don't know when they got involved. All I know is that right around the time you guys were dealing with the counterfeit Destoroyah, they showed up and broke me out and we agreed to join forces, explained Tobias. Well, thanks Celestia that they did. If it weren't tea for them, we'd be sitting ducks by now, said Rarity. There's one more thing I'm still confused about, said Eileen. Exactly when did they get their hands on the Gatengo? That I don't know either. All I know is that at some point during Hyper Mecha Gitara's construction, they stole the Gatengo and planned to use it as another one of their war machines, said Tobias. TCH, they really went overboard with their whole alien invasion plot, asked Applejack. Well, we won't have to worry about it now that Tobias stole it back, said Eileen. But what's our plan now? Asked Skystar. Simple, the Xiliens wants to launch an invasion on Earth and Equestria, then all we gotta do is fight back, said Tobias. So in other words we go to war, said Rarity. I'm all for it, they messed with us, now it's payback time, said Rainbow Dash. If Equestria and the humans teams up then there's nothing for us to be afraid of, said Applejack. They all nod in agreement. I'm glad you guys are on the same page, but before we charge into battle, we gotta deal with that overpowered robot, said Tobias. Right. They all answer in unison. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by the sound of blaring alarms. What in the name of Celestia? Trixie yelped. Suddenly the loudspeaker crackles as Sunset's voice comes through. Boss, we got company. I'm on my way. Tobias stands up as he rushes out of the room, the others follow after him as they make their way back to the control room. What's going on? Twilight asked. Hang on, I'm pulling up the screen, said Boyle. They look up as the screen shows the Gatengo hovering above the hollow shades. In front of them was the hollow Earth access point, and in between them was another monster. The creature resembled a giant iguana-like lizard with curved scutes and spiked dewlap. Is that Godzilla? Asked Trixie. Looks more like a iguana to me, said Rarity. Oh God, no, don't tell me, Eileen groaned. It's Zilla, Tobias confirmed. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video make sure to like and leave a comment and share it with a friend. See you all later.